Okay, it is Wednesday, July 27th, and we've got some new news. There is going to be a balance update on August 2nd, which is this coming Tuesday. And I've skimmed this, there's some very interesting stuff, and this is absolutely worth spreading the news on. So here we go. Hello everyone, I have an update from game director Josh Davis, and this is written by Ruby, Miss Ruby. Hi all. In our Profession Balance Next Steps post on June 30th, I'll have a link to that in the description down below, we stated that we'd be making some additional adjustments to Mesmer weapons, traits, and warrior banners in the August 2nd update. Below you will find a preview of those changes. FYI, we've also added an additional balance update to our release schedule on August 23rd. That's my birthday! Focused on buffing a larger set of specializations. We'll have more information on what that build includes in the coming weeks. Thank you for your continued patience and support as we address your feedback from the June 28th Professions update. Mesmer. Similar to recent tuning on Ranger weapons, just to pause there for a quick second, Ranger, a couple of things on Ranger, specifically like One Wolf Pack on Soul Beast got some, it got reworked and the end result was a pretty hefty nerf. But to help kind of balance that out, and also just because, you know, core Ranger and Druid damage were not that impressive, they did buffs to Ranger base weapons. Things like Greatsword and Longbow across the board, that help all Ranger builds in a little bit. Which was nice. Honestly, the end result for Soul Beast was kind of a small net loss, I believe, but it helped a lot of builds that were not nearly as impressive, and it was good. So it looks like they're going to be doing something similar here. The following are a small set of changes focused on improving damage capability of Chronomancer builds in PvE. Improvements to Greatsword and Sword, as well as a significant change in increase added to the Chronomancer's improved Alacrity trait, will increase the performance of both damage and boon support Chronomancer builds. Recently they added that new Grandmaster trait, where a Chronomancer can choose to be giving Alacrity or Quickness, but not both to their party. And obviously the Greatsword...
for not selling out yet.
I mean, I've done 2 sponsored streams the last 2 weeks. I haven't sold out today. It's been at least, I've got like a little card here. It has been 3 days since I last sold out. But I thank you for recognizing my new streak. Anyway, yes, of course, Greatsword is one of the weapons of choice for power builds, and Sword is another valid option, and Sword also has boon removal, which is very popular in PvE builds. If you're fighting a boss, you need to remove boons, such as Veil Guardian, just off the top of my head, is a great example. So, Greatsword, Spatial Surge, PvE only. These are all PvE only, so I won't say that every time. Increase minimum damage multiplier from 0.69, nice, to 0.8. Less nice, but yeah, that's a sizable increase. Increase max damage multiplier from 1.005 to 1.1. So we're looking at an over 10% damage, increase in damage from the base to a near 10% damage to the max. Mind Stab, PvE only, increased damage multiplier from 1.0 to 1.8. That is almost double. Phantasmal Berserker, PvE, increase damage multiplier of the initial strike from 0.4 to 1.2. That is triple. That is sizable. Sword, Mind Slash, increased damage multiplier from 0.75 to 0.8. That is a very tiny buff. Mind Gash, increased damage multiplier from 0.75 to 0.8, which is another very tiny buff. Chronomancer traits, improved Alacrity. In addition to its previous effects, this trait now increases your critical strike damage by 10% when you have Alacrity. This is a multiplier to total damage dealt, not additive with critical strike damage from Ferocity. That is very nice. That is very nice indeed. That will be a noticeable increase to their damage, especially combined with the changes to the Greatsword stuff if you're running Greatsword. Yeah, and of course these Greatsword changes are not just for Chrono. These will also affect any builds that use Greatsword. Virtuoso, of course, being one of the more popular ones at this time, definitely going to see their damage go up a bit with these changes. Looking forward to seeing exactly how much. And again, just a friendly reminder, all the stuff about the weapons was PvE only. PvE only, not PvP, not World v World. Okay, Warrior. We badly missed the mark with banner changes in the June update. We have gone back to the drawing board to be bolder with changes, add more powerful utility, and make banners easier to use. Okay, just a really quick TLDR for people who don't play Warrior. I myself don't, because I have standards. Sorry, too easy. And we are going to go over what that means. So, the banner changes. What they did with the update that they are talking about is they basically said on a Friday, they said, hey, here's the notes for Tuesday's update. And then they went home for the weekend. Monday, they came into the office and they checked the forums, and they had, a virtual riot on their hands. People were very upset. They were like, did you even test these changes? These look terrible. All the simulated math for this stuff looks absolutely god-awful. Please don't do this. They were like, it's already mixed in with the code. There's really no stopping it now. It's going live tonight. And then it went live that night. So they've already said that in the future, they will let us know what's coming, not the Friday before. They will give us time to respond. Then they will let us know what changes will be made after reading our responses. And then there will be more time that passes. So they've changed their workflow. They said they learned a lot from that. But just as everybody said, it was really awful. And although Warrior DPS is great right now, if you know what you're doing, Warrior banners are dead right now. They do the same, because they now do boons, they do the same job that many other classes do, but it's infinitely more work. They have a 60-second cooldown. You have to pick them up to move them, and so any content like a fractal where your group's fast moving, they can't keep up. They can't keep up. So let's see what changes they're going to be making to the new banners. We've gone back to the drawing board to be bolder with changes, add more powerful utility, make banners easier to use. Each banner will now do its most powerful effects immediately on use and have a much shorter base cooldown of 30 seconds. Most of them had 60 seconds before. To address situations where it felt like the warrior needed to continually adjust the positions of their banners, pulsing boons are now granted in an increased duration per pulse, but over a shorter amount of time. Which immediately sounds like you would just stack up the boon really high really quickly. For those who don't know, like if many sources of a boon hit you all at once, like if a bunch of different people give you regeneration at once, you can get like 60 seconds of regeneration on you, and then you don't have to stay in range of those people, for 60 seconds before it wears off, allowing you to move around, come back to the group, stuff like that. Banners, before, you kind of really had to stay close because it would be like, here's 2 seconds of a buff, 2 seconds of a buff, over and over and over. And moving the banners, you had, between 2 and 4 banners, and you would have to like run back to the banner, pick one up, run to the new area, put it down, run back, pick the next one up, because you could only carry one at a time. So it was quite an ordeal. And you couldn't just leave them behind and drop them again because they had a 60-second cooldown. That wouldn't keep up with the average group. It will no longer be necessary to stand around the banner for its full duration to upkeep the banner boons. Duration will stack up more quickly. The reduced cooldowns allow warriors the use of their powerful on-drop effects frequently. So, for example, the banners would pulse quickness when you planted them, but planting them was a 60-second cooldown. So you'd get a few seconds of quickness every 60 seconds, which was, not very impressive. Now you get those seconds of quickness every 30 seconds, along with there are other traits that affect that stuff as well. The reduced cooldowns allow warriors the use of their powerful on-drop effects frequently. The radius and duration of banners has been reduced to better reflect this more focused role. The previous ability for banners to grant quickness to allies has been moved to the double standards trait. General banner skill usage. The recharge has been reduced from 60 seconds to 30 except battle standard. Animation change, cast time reduced by 0.2 seconds except battle standards. Excuse me just a moment. Okay, light combo field radius reduced from 600 to 360. Combo field duration reduced from 5 seconds to 3 seconds. For those who don't know, light combo fields, great for cleansing conditions. And if you had a banner down, you could do combos in it for a very long period of time. Like the 5 seconds per banner was quite nice for that one purpose, and they've cut that down a little bit. Pulsing boon radius reduced to 360. Once dropped, the banners will only last for 15 seconds and are no longer picked up. So, 15-second duration, 30-second cooldown. With Alacrity, that would be 26-second cooldown. No, 24, sorry. Banners no longer grant quickness on drop by default, except for Banner of Tactics in PvE only. Double Standards. This trait now grants quickness on banner drop in addition to the other effects. Clarified in description that boon duration increase only applies to the pulsing boons and not any other boons granted on the initial banner drop. That's interesting. All banner skills, except for Battle Standard, have been reworked. They now grant different effects when dropped, depending on the banner. Banner of Defense grants Barrier and Aegis to allies. Very interesting. That opens up some options. Now, I don't know what the strength of the barrier is, but Aegis on a 24-second cooldown grants warriors some very interesting abilities. As an example, Deimos. Deimos, if you're doing CM, Aegis is one of the ways to get through it. He occasionally does a massive explosion. You need an Aegis or a block mechanic or like rebound or something to survive that explosion. Obviously, Guardians are the most well-known in the game at pumping out Aegis to people. Mechanists more recently got an ability that allows them to do it periodically if they time it well. Now Warrior is added to that list if they are timing their job properly. That is very interesting. Banner of Tactics. Ooh, I did not mean to click that. 1 second. Okay. Banner of Tactics applies stability and super speed and quickness in PvE to allies. Huh. Again, this opens up some doors. Slothosaur. Right before he does his roar and he's about to fear the whole party, you could drop Banner of Tactics to protect one group from the fear. As long as, again, as long as you're not needing that banner to be pulsing its thing the whole time, and you could save it for the right moment. And keep in mind, you don't have to be a banner warrior for this effect. You could be just a warrior in the group that's just a DPS and be like, oh, hey, I could swap Banner of Tactics for this fight and protect the group from getting fear bombed, or stuff like that. So that's very cool. Banner of Discipline damages and applies bleeding and cripple. The idea of that, like the guy plants the flag down and then just looks at you and you're just like, and it just like slices you to ribbons. That sounds so anime. This skill no longer creates a light combo field, but acts as a blast finisher instead. So you could use this banner to combo the other banners. All right. Banner of Strength damages and dazes enemies. This skill no longer creates a light combo field, but acts as a blast finisher instead. Okay, so we got 2 light field banners and 2 blast finisher banners. Damages and dazes enemies. I wonder how much CC this is going to do. I think a lot of the dazes in the game do 200 break bar. I'm wondering how much this one will do. Battle Standard damage multiplier has been increased from 1.5 to 4.0 in PvE only. 1.5 to 4.0. It's double, almost triple. This skill no longer creates a light combo field, but acts as a blast finisher instead. All right. I'm just imagining he pulls out the flag, but it's the size of like a telephone pole and then just like clubs you with it. Pulsing boons have been changed to the following. I'm going to bounce back and forth just to kind of try to get the whole picture here. Banner of Defense, which gives Barrier and Aegis on cast, will pulse regen, 4 seconds per pulse. Banner of Tactics, which gives stability and super speed, will then pulse resistance. Banner of Discipline, which does bleeding and cripple on cast, and a blast finisher, will then pulse fury. Banner of Strength, which damages and dazes enemies, and then is a blast finisher, will then pulse might for 2 stacks, 10 seconds duration. And keep in mind, all these durations are before concentration. If you wanted to stack concentration gear, if you were doing diviners or something along those lines, you could like up to double these durations. Battle Standard which is the one where they just drastically increased the damage and made it a blast finisher, now does Fury, Swiftness, and Might. More duration than the Banner of Strength does. So, yeah. And then, of course, Double Standards adds quickness on Banner Drop in addition to other effects. And if you have boon duration, it will affect all of these boons, but not the boons from the initial drop. So concentration will not affect the Aegis, the stability, or the quickness from what I see here. So, very interesting. Very interesting. Hold on, someone in chat is asking for the link. I'm going to drop that in there for them right now. Okay, so that is the end of the post. This is very interesting stuff. So, again, a couple things, just to get the obvious stuff out of the way. There are other classes that are arguably easier to get max might from, just having a mechanist or a firebrand nearby, or a druid can now give like 2/3 might uptime pretty easily. Fury and might are not rare. Regen as well. If you've got a healer, probably high regen. Also, regen uses your healing power. If you've got a warrior in the group in full berserker gear pumping regen, it's not gonna be that great. It will not be that great. So if you've got a healer in the party, it's better than nothing for sure. But if you've got a healer in the party, they have regen, it's going to override yours. Yours will never do anything. That said, the resistance, that's really nice. That's really nice. So, I mean, the Days banner now also topping off Might. Because keep in mind, you might take a banner just for the first part. So, for example, let's say you're in a fight and you need another interrupt. And you've got some choices on what you're going to add on your hotbar to give you another interrupt for that fight. And if Banner of Strength is decent CC, it also comes with a blast finisher, damage, and then it pulses Might for 15 seconds. That's pretty nice. That's really nice. And then Banner of Tactics, if you've got a fight where you need stability on occasion, say the Earth Gen in was it Raid? I'm having a total brain fart right now. Is it Raid Wing 7? I think it's Raid Wing 7. The Earth Gen or the Slothosaur fight. There are moments where you want to have everybody have stability just for a second. And for those fights, you could just slam down Banner of Tactics, and then it's pumping resistance for the next 15 seconds. That's just icing on the cake. So those are really, and that's when you're not even spec'd into banners. When you don't even have like a full, like the traits and stuff, like you're not even running the double standards, this stuff is kicking in. If you're using double standards, then you can, devote even more of yourself to it. But these are pretty cool. Now, these jobs can be done by other people. Warrior before, for many years, was giving us a buff that no one else provided. No one else gave it. So that they always had every 10-man group had at least one warrior, just because, Jimmy brought the flags. So now, this does make you kind of interchangeable with other people, but that's kind of the way everybody else is. And you guys are still great DPS right now, from what I've seen recently. But yeah, access to a barrier, don't know how strong it is. Access to Aegis when you need it, which, has some good interactions on some PvE raid fights. Access to stability and super speed when you need it. A CC that then pulses might. And then the stability and super speed then pulse resistance. Really got my eye on those two. And then battle standard hitting like a freaking telephone pole. I mean, the battle standard damage is almost tripled. We might see some silly crits with that. But yeah, very, very interesting. Very interesting. Honestly, the fact that they can pulse regen and they get barrier and Aegis, I'm kind of wondering how functional Shout Healer will be in PvE. Shout Healer Warriors has been a thing in PvP off and on for a very long time. In PvE, I mean, it could absolutely work with the right group, but I feel like it would be more functional now than it has been in years. So, it's very cool. That's very cool. I like the flexibility and stuff like that. I hope this works out for them. You know, I think it goes without saying. I'm not a warrior main, but I really like the aggressive changes they've done here to try and fix this, and we will see if it's enough. But yeah, that's all that they've added for now. This patch is slated to go live this coming Tuesday. If you've got any other questions, problems, thoughts, concerns, anything to add on this topic, drop them in the comment section down below. I read all of them, and you know, spread the word to other people if you've got something to add that I didn't think of. That's it for now. See you next time.